Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name is William. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today we are in the Cirrus SR22 on the ground at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport. We're going to be flying across the Everglades today, going to Marco Island, enjoying the scenery along the way. It's a nice early morning here in Fort Lauderdale, and hopefully the sun will start coming up for us a little bit to enjoy some of the scenery over the Everglades. So we're going to go ahead and go through, start getting the aircraft ready for startup. Let's make sure our parking brake is on. Let's see, get to the mixture there. We'll go full rich and full power, and open up a fuel tank. That might help. And we got it in prime right now, so we're just going to prime for a moment and turn it to off. Cut the throttle all the way back to idle. Cut it open just slightly. Put it on boost. Just double check the parking brake is set. Our propeller area is clear, and we'll go to start. So engine is started up. Oil pressure is good. We're going to go ahead and throttle back for around 1,000 RPM. Alright, so oil temperature is coming up. Oil pressure is good. Battery's good. Volts are 28. Everything looks good there. We'll go ahead and click our avionics on, and we'll click that off as well, so stop flashing at us. Okay, hit continue, and you can see us here on the ramp at Fort Lauderdale. So really that's all there is to starting the aircraft up. We're going to go ahead and tune to Fort Lauderdale the ATIS frequency and pick it up. Let's see, the weather should be working now, so let's see.
Executive Airport information, Mike 11000. Wind 146 at 20. Visibility 10. Sky condition, few clouds at 1,200 feet, few clouds at 4,200 feet, few clouds at 12,400 feet. Temperature 26. Dew point 10. Altimeter 29.907. ILS runway 9er in use. Landing and departing runway 9er. DSR aircraft, say direction of flight.
Okay, so we picked up the ATIS. It does say that the wind is coming from basically 140. We do have the option of runway 13 here at the airport. It's the opposite end of this runway down here to us, and then they said they are using runway 9, which is all the way across the airport. We could request runway 9. It's 4,000 feet, and that's plenty of room for us, so that's what we're going to go ahead and plan on. Runway 9 for our departure. It's close enough to sunrise. We're going to go ahead and pop on our nav lights just to make us a little bit more visible, and go through and get our landing lights on as well. So we're going to disengage the parking brake now and start our taxi out. And like I said, we'll use 13 for the departure. So we'll just go ahead and kind of zoom it out a little bit. We're going to taxi on out, go up to, that's taxiway Delta, cross 27, and then we'll take Foxtrot all the way over to 13. That's our plan. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're looking forward to a nice sunrise flight into Marco Island Executive. It's a pretty neat little airport. Hopefully we can land runway 17 and get a nice flight over all of the it's a big golf course right on the approach for runway 17. But we'll pick the weather up on the way into Marco Island. And this should take us right over the Everglades all the way. So we're heading north on taxiway Delta now. Across 27. You can see the windsock is actually kind of gusting around and blowing. So the update does seem to have fixed the weather. Very excited about that. And I believe since it would be a quartering downwind, it would be push the controls in and away. So down and to the left for crosswind correction on the taxi. Crossing runway 27. And we'll turn left here on this next taxiway coming up. And this will be Foxtrot, which we will take all the way to 13. Alright, so since we're kind of in the process here of getting stuff set up, let's go ahead and set a heading bug of 130, just so it's on runway heading. It's nice to have that set up. We also want to go ahead and set up an altitude bug. For right now, we'll just do 4,500. You hear the boost pump kick on whenever the RPM falls too low. See the nice sun reflection off of the propeller there. And here's runway 13 that we're taxiing up to. This on the map is so useful. I think in real life even now they got it to where it has the actual taxiways kind of laid out over it, so you could use this just as a ground chart by itself. Whereas on here it just kind of shows them, it doesn't actually designate what they are. But still better than having nothing. Alright, so we got runway 13 over here to the left. Let's go ahead and taxi on up to it and hold short. Let's set our parking brake for a moment, set up a couple other things. Alright, so setting the parking brake, we're going to set our takeoff flaps there. Today we'll be rotating at 70 knots, and then climbing out we're looking for about 90 knots and a positive rate, and we'll go ahead and get our flaps in. While we're down here, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my flight director. I'm going to set my CDI up to GPS because we have the airport punched in for GPS. Bearing 1 also set to GPS, so I can get the distance just by looking right there. We'll have it in 3 different places. It's nice. And we'll pull the wind up, which we can see is 140, basically at 6 knots. So that is also very nice to see. We are set up. Our approach in looks clear. Runway 13 looks clear. Going to be departing right into the sun. So let's go ahead and disengage that parking brake. We'll increase the range of our map here, give ourselves a little bit more situational awareness. Let's take the runway. Alright, takeoff power. Airspeed is alive. We're 70 knots. We'll start to rotate. We have a positive rate. There's 90 knots. We'll wait until we're about 200 feet, 90 knots, and a positive rate. Go ahead and get our flaps coming in. Keep pitching back. Be a right turn here off of the departure. Take a look at that sunrise out over the ocean there. That looks so beautiful. We're about to put that in our rear view mirror though. Alright, so we're through over 600 feet. Let's start our right hand turn. A little bit of a stutter there. continue the right-hand turn. We're going to settle on a heading of 270 here for a moment. We'll roll out almost exactly on 270. Just barely off. Continue the climb. Climb out anywhere between like 110, 120 knots is pretty normal, so we're a little fast, but no worries really. You see the sun reflecting off of the propeller. That looks pretty cool. Nice haze out in front of us as well. And with the Cirrus, you actually have really good visibility all the way behind you. See all the airports over there. Fort Lauderdale Executive. All the way around us, there's a ton of little airports here in Florida. It's a really cool area. And a whole lot of cities right here along the beach, and then we're going to get over the Everglades and have nothing but a bunch of probably alligators and pythons beneath us. But as we continue to climb out, kind of want to come down here for a second and just set up the autopilot for a moment.
Engaging autopilot.
Go ahead and pull the power back a little bit. I don't want the climb to get too carried away, and I kind of want to... Actually, you know what? This is perfect. We'll put it on IAS mode, and it's set for 135. That should be just fine. We can go ahead and get the power back in. Kind of zooming out, or zooming out here. We don't have the, I don't know if they're just not loaded in or if we're too far zoomed out. Normally you can see all the roads on the map, I just don't think they've loaded in. It might take a little bit longer for them to load in all the way out. But there should be a nice road for us to follow. Yeah, there it is. Nice road, basically, to take us all the way to just north of Marco Executive. If we wanted to follow that VFR and the visibility is good enough for anything, we could just do that. But we do have the instruments on board, so we might as well use them. It's starting to capture 4,500. We're going to keep the power up. And get our airspeed going as well. Looks like we've got about 8 knots quartering tailwind behind us. Oh, look at some of these neighborhoods. This is so cool. Baseball going on down there, it looks like. This looks really neat. Some really low clouds too here over the Everglades off in front of us. Let's take a look and see what the plane's doing. So we're building airspeed. We're almost doing 175 knots across the ground. I'm going to go ahead and pull the power back and try and set for about... I'll set for about 15 gallons an hour here. See, that seems to be a pretty decent speed. You see, we're flying basically directly over the spine here of Florida. And the population density just kind of falls off into nothingness as we get more towards the middle of it. Out into the marshlands. But yeah, you can see off in front of us some of these low clouds, almost like little pockets of fog is kind of what it looks like in the Everglades. That's pretty darn neat. I pulled the power like that, down like that, and we're doing 169 knots, which I'd say is better than 170. And we did basically capture our GPS, but I didn't have it in nav mode, so it wasn't going to fly direct. We'll go ahead and set that up real quick. I'll grab the AWAS frequency for Marco Island and go ahead and punch that one in while we have the autopilot flying. And our AWAS frequency for Marco Island is going to be 120.075. So I'm going to come up to the small adjustment and dial in 0.75. That glare is quite something, let me tell you. Let's see. The sun's really coming up now. The lighting effects are quite striking sometimes in the game. Since it's just kind of cruising us around a little bit. Kind of take a look at the airplane. It's such a gorgeous plane in my opinion, the Cirrus. It's quite simple, but and then you look at what we're going to be flying out over. Just a whole lot of nothing. Alright, so getting back in the airplane. We have our AWAS frequency set. We have our power set. Just bump it up just slightly. See, we're almost a direct crosswind now of about 8 knots, 65 miles, and just 23 minutes basically to get all the way out over here. You can see we're almost right over the highway I was talking about. We'll get it out the left wing here in just a moment. Kind of see just right off in front of our nose. It seems very out of place. It's basically in the middle of nowhere. Just all the way across. Oh, that looks pretty neat up there as well. I'm really enjoying exploring these different kind of areas and just seeing how well they come out basically in the sim. I wonder if that is I don't know if those look like tracks or I know that they say like if you see paths out in the Everglades, it's like a water boy or something with people in their fan boats basically going on through the areas. That'd be really cool if there's some AI fan boats out there just tearing it up. A couple little buildings out there just off on their own. Just taking in the sights, enjoying a nice sunrise off behind us. Nice lighting. I'm enjoying having weather that's actually somewhat representative to what I saw whenever I planned this flight out. I actually had to make a runway choice. These are all pretty big improvements as far as I'm concerned. I did fumble around in the G1000 for a little bit, but I think that's just more of how hard it is to really implement it on a, you know, when you're working through it on a mouse and keyboard and all that. I hope you guys have been doing good though. I hope if you're playing some flight sim, you're also gonna enjoy the update. I felt like it loaded quite a bit faster for me, which is welcome for sure. Still getting some freezing. You saw there on departure, you may have, it's pretty noticeable, I think. And I think my multiplayer server looks to be working a little bit better now as well. Maybe get to fly with some friends for once, actually, before too long. Yeah, this is a little bit more of what I kind of imagined now, out over the left wing. You see these low layer of clouds that we were seeing from a distance. Kind of forgot, but we should go ahead and turn our landing light off. I noticed while we were outside the aircraft. Also, for the cruise, we'd go ahead and turn the boost pump off, and we can switch over to our left tank. Generally speaking, I probably would have left that boost pump on for the tank change, just in case there's any kind of a drop in fuel pressure for some reason. So 150 at 10, so we do have quite a good crosswind. And that actually brings up a really cool feature of the G1000. This is one of the best things, made it super easy, in my opinion, compared to old gauges, especially if you're trying to fly a specific heading or something. This little purple or magenta dot is the heading the aircraft is actually flying with the crosswind. So you can see we're flying 257 is the direction, or 256 is the direction that the aircraft's pointed. But because that wind is kind of blowing us over a little bit, the aircraft is actually heading almost exactly 260 right now. And 10 knot, crosswind or whatever, it's going to be about close to about 5 degrees. It can make a pretty big difference. Especially whenever you're trying to do holds or something like that. You wind up getting your time and your distances kind of really off whenever you're not exactly flying the opposite direction outbound for a minute. You're kind of crabbing in a little bit or getting pushed out. It can really throw off your times. That was super handy and useful. So it's nice to see that little dot is there. And it looks like it's working. Also nice. That looks really nice. All that just down there in clouds. Looks like some spooky land you wouldn't want to go into. That's where all the crocodiles are hiding. Alligators? Alligators, they're not crocodiles. I hope that's right. It's one of the two. They're both scary. Wouldn't want to be confronted by either. Alright, we're about 37 miles out now. 13.5 minutes if we're flying direct. I'm kind of swerving all over the place. Just hand flying it. Trying to have a good time. You can see that's highway kind of goes more off to the north. We basically could have followed it all the way to that intersection and basically flown down. That would have been a really good visual reference point just to follow the entire way there. We didn't have a GPS, especially with the fact that there's really nothing else out here in the Everglades to kind of use. Yeah, look at that. This is like perfect fog, just in little patchy areas. Weather really can make a flight. We can see the ocean up in front of us now as well. Alright everyone, we're about 22.5 miles from Marco Island. Let's go ahead and tune up the AWOS and see what the weather's like at Marco Island Executive.
Kilo Mike Kilo Yankee automated weather observation 1100 Zulu. Wind 165 at 1 tree. Visibility tree. Sky condition few clouds at 1,100 feet, few clouds at 4,200 feet, few clouds at 12,500 feet. Temperature 27C dew point 10C altimeter 29er.
Got 29er 4. Again, the pressure. Let's come down here. Could confirm. Oh, that's the wrong way. 2994. And the standby. And wind is set up for runway 17. He said visibility was 3 on the automated weather observation there. So that's not great. It does look like maybe that is still a bit off though, as I mean, we can see all the way to the ocean out in front of us, unless they're in one of these little pockets of kind of fog or something. We should have decent visibility. So we'll try to go in for the visual, and if it doesn't work out, and we can't spot the runway or whatever that, you know, might be, we can load up the GPS RNAV for runway 17. So at the moment, 6 minutes away, almost 15 miles. We're going to go ahead and switch on over to the right tank once again, cruised basically on the left. We will disengage our autopilot, and let's pull the power back here and start coming down. So initially here, I'm just going to set my altitude bug 2,500. That sounds like a good altitude. I think this is the airport that's kind of behind the pillar right there. I think this is the airport, because this looks like the kind of golf course right in front of us. You see it off over the nose. We're going to continue down. That is, in fact, the airport. We're going to pull the power back. Start to slow down. Yeah, you can see all these homes and waterways, and there's a golf course off in here. Basically completely surrounded by water. It's like every house has their own little moat. It's really cool. See even more off to the right. Really cool area. Alright, so 119 was 50% flaps. Let's go ahead and get them out. You see the field now directly in front of us, and that is runway 17. There's 104, and we're in a base, so we'll go ahead and go full flaps. Let's hold about this altitude and take a look at this golf course out there. About 80 knots. Just keep an eye on speed right there. So you can see the airport, you can see our airspeed, our altitude, that awesome looking golf course down below us. And let's start to turn in. Giving all those people a nice early wake-up call. A little late on the turn to final, a little offset. But we can see we do have wind showing about 8 knots, 7 knots, almost exactly on the nose. So it should be good to go. on decent speed, decent glide slope. On a good power setting. A little high. So we'll pull the power out just slightly. Drop the nose. There we go. Just get it back. Start creeping the power out a little bit more. Power's all the way out. Just trying to kick that rudder a little bit more for the crosswind we had. Let's jump on the brakes and make this turn off. Alright everyone, welcome to Marco Executive. Marco Island Executive. You gotta throw the island in there, it makes it sound fancier. So we are taxiing off of runway 17, get to the hold short line, and we're going to be going to the right, but we will clear and stop for a moment, get the aircraft cleaned up. Alright, clear of the runway, so get the flaps all the way up, get our landing light off, go ahead and leave the rest of it, but we'll get our pitot heat off as well. We're good on that for the moment. Go ahead and go to the boost pump. Should have turned that on for the approach. Still super rusty on this stuff. And the wind is almost directly behind us. Just get that crosswind correction in. That felt nice, even though that wasn't really much of a crosswind. It was mostly headwind, just a little bit of crosswind component. It definitely felt I had to compensate for it, and it didn't do a great job in all honesty, so it'd be nice practicing that. I'm looking forward to that. I'm still not sure what it is with the visibility here showing up as 3 miles when we listened in on the AWAS, but you know, maybe it's just a small problem, and it's just smaller airports like this, or I don't know, but the wind and clouds and everything being right, that's a huge step in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. Alright, so we got a forklift right there. It's kind of screwing up my plans. But we'll just go ahead and loop it around right here. And park it. Alright, so parking brake set. Now then, we'll go ahead and get our nav lights off, avionics off. And then we will go mixture to cutoff. We'll continue. And get those two off as well. Just turn the fuel pump off. Close the... Nope. Close the fuel cutoff there. Strobe off. And batteries off. Accidentally clicking the wrong buttons. And we're not parked on the marker at all. But overall, I had a pretty good time on that flight. I hope you all did as well. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging out. If you did like it, make sure to give the video a like, subscribe if you want to see some more content. And let me know if you're enjoying the update, if you found that it's fixed quite a few problems as well in the comments below. So I hope you all enjoyed, and see you next time. Bye-bye.